When a young cheetah was brought to a small provincial zoo, it caused a real stir among the staff and local residents. The animal, named Lux, immediately caught the attention of a young employee, Olga, due to its sickly condition. No one expected that her decision to enter the cage of the ill predator would be the beginning of a chain of events that would shake not only the small town but the entire world, proving that miracles happen even in the most unexpected places. In a small provincial town lost among the Russian expanses, the local zoo rarely surprised visitors with exotic animals. However, on one cool autumn day, a real treasure was brought here, a young cheetah. This event caused a real excitement among the staff and local residents. No one could have imagined what an amazing story would unfold around this graceful predator. The cheetah was named Lux, a name that seemed to perfectly suit his regal posture and shiny coat. However, in the first hours after arrival, it became clear that something was wrong with the animal. Instead of curiously exploring his new home, Lux just tiredly sank to the floor of the cage and closed his eyes. Olga, a young zoo employee, anxiously observed the condition of the new resident. She had always been particularly sensitive to animals and couldn't remain indifferent to the cheetah's suffering. When the next morning Lux refused food and didn't even try to stand up, Olga insisted on immediately calling a veterinarian. The diagnosis was disappointing: pneumonia, probably contracted during the long transportation. The vet prescribed a course of treatment, but a serious problem arose: how to make a sick and weakened animal take medicine if it refuses any food and water? Olga couldn't accept the thought that this magnificent animal might die due to illness. She spent long hours near Lux's cage, talking to him in a quiet, soothing voice. The girl felt that some invisible connection was being established between her and the cheetah. One day, when no one was looking, Olga decided to take a desperate step. She quietly opened the cage door and went inside. Her heart was pounding wildly, but the fear for Lux's life was stronger than the fear for her own safety. The cheetah didn't even turn his head towards her. He was so exhausted. Olga carefully approached the animal with a piece of meat in her hand. Lux weakly bared his teeth, but the girl didn't back down. She moistened the meat with water and again brought it to the cheetah's muzzle. To her surprise and joy, Lux began to lick the water and unknowingly swallowed the piece of meat. This was the turning point. Olga realized she had found a way to help Lux. From that day on, she secretly snuck into the cage to hand-feed the cheetah and give him medicines mixed with food. Gradually, Lux began to recover, and his trust in Olga grew with each passing day. Soon, the whole zoo noticed the amazing changes. Lux not only recovered, but also began to show an extraordinary attachment to Olga. When the girl entered the cage, the cheetah joyfully ran to meet her, purring like a huge house cat. It was an amazing sight, a wild predator gently rubbing against a person's legs. Olga and Lux became inseparable. The girl spent all her free time with the cheetah, playing with him and taking care of him. She even started taking him for walks around the zoo, to the amazement of visitors and colleagues. Lux obeyed Olga unquestioningly, as if understanding her every word. However, fate was preparing a difficult test for them. One summer morning, circus representatives came to the zoo. They were looking for exotic animals for their new program, and Lux immediately caught their attention. Despite Olga's protests, the zoo management decided to sell the cheetah to the circus. The day of parting was full of tears and despair. When Lux was being loaded into the transport cage, he roared and thrashed about as if feeling that he was being separated from his beloved human. Olga couldn't hold back her sobs, watching her friend being taken away. She stood on the road for a long time, looking after the departing car, unable to believe that she would never see Lux again. Life at the zoo continued, but for Olga, it lost its colors. The girl often remembered Lux, wondering how his fate had turned out in the circus. She hoped they were taking good care of him there, but deep down she was tormented by worry. 4 long years passed. Olga still worked at the zoo, but no longer felt the same enthusiasm. One day she heard that a circus had come to their town for filming, and among the animals was a blind cheetah. Olga's heart beat faster. Could it be Lux? The girl hurried to the place where the circus animals were housed. There she saw a cheetah that looked much older and thinner than she remembered Lux. His once bright eyes were clouded with cataracts. Olga watched with a heavy heart as the animal moved uncertainly in its cage. Unable to contain her excitement, Olga began to ask a circus employee about the cheetah, and suddenly a miracle happened. Hearing Olga's voice, the animal sharply turned its head in her direction and made a characteristic meowing sound that the girl remembered so well. At that moment, all doubts disappeared. It was Lux. Despite his blindness and years of separation, he recognized the voice of his closest friend. Olga, without thinking for a second, rushed to open the cage. Lux, hearing his old name, lunged forward, burying his head in the girl's hands. It was a scene worthy of the most touching film, a blind cheetah and a girl crying with happiness, hugging each other amidst an astonished crowd. No one could believe their eyes, seeing how a wild animal cuddled up to a human like a pet. The story of Olga and Lux instantly spread throughout the city and then throughout the country. Journalists and TV crews vied for interviews, wanting to know the details of this incredible friendship. But for Olga, only one thing mattered. She was with Lux again. After long negotiations and thanks to public resonance, the circus agreed to return Lux to the zoo. Olga took full responsibility for caring for the blind cheetah. She developed a special rehabilitation program helping Lux adapt to life without sight. Lux, despite his blindness, seemed to have found a new life with Olga. He started playing again and even allowed the girl to take him for walks, fully trusting her to guide him through the world invisible to him. This amazing story of friendship between a human and a cheetah became living proof that love and devotion know no boundaries between species. It showed that even in the most unexpected circumstances, a bond can be born that can overcome time, distance, and even physical limitations.